Happy birthday. And greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor. One point of view out of 10,000, 1,000. And I really only have one title today, and it has to do with there being 10,000 views of Pilates, and surviving in the tsunami of passion. Based on your ability as a Pilates instructor. So my number one title is Pilates is a sensitive compass. 5 words. Pilates is a sensitive compass. And so what I mean by that is a compass is a device that discerns the direction based on the presence of electromagnetic waves created on the Earth, by the Earth, however that happens. When you use a compass or a needle rubbed on wool and placed on a leaf, suspended on water, kind of thing, awareness of the character of magnetic fields lets you use a device like a compass to discern that direction. And from within the view of MMP, that alignment, that's my word, my alignment, lined up, right, is sensational via tension between 2 points to trigger uniform engagement and make alignment sensational. I go off into my whole mantra. My point being that alignment is sensational as part of this structure of the broadcast, or point of view. Thank you. One point of view. The MMP point of view is that something that comes with Pilates is an awareness of sensation, or a discernment of alignment, an ability to more uniformly engage the body to move through space. And by sensitive compass, I mean that it's jittery, and the real Pilates culture that's part of this tsunami of interest, passion and money, prestige and history and point of view. The needle of it, for one thing, it's a presumption, right, that there's any needle at all. And that really it's just arbitrary tradition handed down by word of mouth that has no essence of its own. That's easily a lot of the points of view. And so I acknowledge that, okay. I sort of need to have a deeper point of view when it comes to what it is, based on what it was. And so the needle that moves around to trying to interpret what Pilates is, no matter in what directions it's pulled in, drawn, dragged, or pushed, from the MMP point of view, the essence of itself which is the experience of complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. That's an essential part of it for the MMP point of view. Has something to do with that being Joe's definition. And where am I going? Where was I just going? The needle sorting itself out. As long as there's enough copies of Joe's book out there where people can read for themselves the promise, the definition, or the definition, promise, and sequence, because they happen that order in the book. You get Joe's promise, you get, in the very next paragraph, the statement I've always taken as a promise of the outcome, which really more literally means the character of the performance itself. So it's being uniform in your effort, being uniformly engaged in your effort. That is what it does. As Joe says, contrology develops the body uniformly. It's not like it does something else to get the uniformly. It's the uniformly that is the key thing from within the MMP point of view, at least, probably yours too. And so the question I would beg is, or I wrote down is, coming into alignment according to what? I mean, a compass responds to magnetic field that has direction involved. Aligning, if Pilates is a sensitive compass, and that means it's sensitive to alignment, then the question is alignment to what, right? And mostly you could just say nature, or the world, or reality, gravity, because gravity plays into so much of our challenge to be uniformly engaged, to uniformly develop our body. That's well said. That the development of our body, the effort involved, is uniform. And so, as odd as this sounds, the elegance of the human body is that it has the capacity for what I identify as core new tension, which is defined as, by me, oppositional rotation between axes, and that's just biomechanics that hasn't discovered itself yet in terms of the math and the physics. But you don't need that to be informed of it as a Pilates instructor. To engage with your knowledge of how the body engages itself. To get that uniform development, how does that happen? Through the eyes of Michael Miller Pilates, through core new tension that allows you to most efficiently distribute the load of your body and engage your musculature, your frame, most efficiently. It's there if you're willing to look. And so It's in making the core-nu tension, which is a positive engagement of musculature to achieve a result that yields a sensation of alignment, which is so critical to the issue of uniform engagement. Tension that is not good, or tension leads to stress. And so they both might be the same thing, but different words. But if the tension is in some way beneficial, and it's just stress that is detrimental, that's why the difference between the two, then stress left unchecked leads to pain. And pain is when your student walks in the door. And I'm just honest in that really the person that's most motivated to get the best take on what they can from whatever Pilates has to offer is the one that's in pain, thinking that Pilates might be able to take them out of it. Which sometimes is the case and sometimes isn't the case. Right? From the MMP point of view, when you're clear about who you are as an instructor and what your goal is, it helps you create or keep a distinction between your agenda as an instructor and whatever their agenda is. Pain or entertainment or conditioning or spiritual or however that spectrum spreads. The key thing here I'm trying to resolve to is that it's about tension and the spectrum between tension and stress, and how good tension facilitates uniform engagement and bad tension doesn't. Bad tension leads to stress, which leads to pain, and then the way out of that, the point I'm trying to make, is that pain knowing that the way out of pain is to relieve the stress, to find the release of that ease at where one's tension is then willful, right? And sometimes you have to back into that, but ideally that's an even transition of spectrum. So my takeaway from this is about surviving as a Pilates instructor and thriving. And from the MMP point of view, the universality of the point of view in that it's looking at one human being's gift to humanity, and the sublimely exquisite effect it's having on humanity. It's not only universal, but it's natural, like nature. Like you can know whatever you want to know about nothing, but know that a compass is doing something in terms of aligning somewhere, right? And this broadcast is an opinion that Pilates, in its very essence, alignment matters, and in that regard, then, the needle of whatever people interpret as Pilates being, it will be in harmony with the nature that it finds itself in, and that's the physical world. In terms of human beings don't exist in a vacuum, they exist in a physical world that by all indications from those still living to those who aren't, the physical world has some continuity in it, regardless of the life or the death of a participant. And without going religious or spiritual or any of that, within the purview of MMP, science is included or taken as a filter, and without being aware of the physics that the body is accomplishing to achieve its exquisite movement through space, it can only be better in your awareness of that physics. Well, unless you want to completely ignore it and just say physics doesn't matter. Which is, pick out 1,000 views on that. Alright, so the physical world, what we care about in MMP is moving because that's being alive. And so the subject is your movement. And so much of it, if you're not moving, you're well on your way to dead, if you're not there already. If there's no movement at all, right? None. Moving is about being alive, and Pilates is about conditioning for survival by coordinating being, thinking, and observing. If that's a reach, I'm hopefully talking about the thing that the needle, a big thing to focus on in the needle lining up is on this notion of uniform usage, whole body. And all of that comes from contrology develops the body uniformly. Well, the only way it can do that is if there's uniform engagement in the effort. Right? At least you're reaching for that, right? So, in navigating your own high seas of your own belief system and simulation of what Pilates is, not only to you, but to the rest of the world out there, keep the notion of uniformity and effort as part of the needle stabilizing, because it's through the tension that comes from the uniform engagement that you produce that mitigates the stress of gravity. It allows you to swim like a fish through the ocean, through an ocean of air. To swim like a fish through an ocean of air. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Add two and two. Direct your own thinking. And because if you don't, someone else will. And Geist